Ready? Yeah. All right, we'll call this meeting, Facilities Committee meeting of Dunn County to order at 5 PM. We're in room 60 of the Government Center. So call of the roll, we are all here. So approval of the previous meeting minutes of January 6th. I would entertain a motion. Okay, Supervisor Lyon moves. And Supervisor Prochnow. Yes, if you would like. Oh, that's not the minutes. That's Scott's report. So that will be coming up. That's part of our facilities report. Okay, so thank you. Any other questions? Discussion? All right, so we have a motion to approve the minutes from January 6th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Number 4 is public comment. Was there no public comment for this month? Number 5 is items placed at the request of the chair. There's none, so we move on to 6, which is the staff and recreation reports. So first we have the Fair and Fair Board. Deb?
Good evening. I have a few things to report on. We have selected our theme, but it's a secret yet, other than to the Fair Board members, because we'll be doing the Facebook announcement. But I'll let you know next month. We had our beef weigh-in on February 8th, which was that snow day. So it became a non-mandatory event. So I'm not even sure on how many people actually participated and brought their animals in. So beef so far has had, as a project, has always had their weigh-ins mandatory because they use a total performance award and you have to have a beginning weight that's official to do that. So we switched it because of the weather to make it non-mandatory this year. So we'll see how that works out. I'm working on getting the rest of our judges hired. The commercial and food vendor contracts are out, and we updated our sponsor brochure so we can get some, hopefully some more sponsors this year. And coming back from the convention, we had some very interesting sessions. Larry went with me, and then he came back for the meeting and then came back, but a very dynamic keynote speaker that also did some sessions on planning and fundraising and different things. Eon Hill, if you've ever heard of him, he's a dynamic speaker, brings a lot of stuff to the table, and we're also as a state association is also having him at the district meetings to continue this on, and he's working with the fairs for this entire year to kind of help us out. And we were very fortunate that we received a media award for our poster, or our newspaper ad, our newspaper ad. And I'm really excited about that because we are the only fair that was in that category for our size that is done in-house and not hired or not complete or not made up by a firm. So that was really exciting because it's our own work that, Sam basically does that for us. And then I was kind of blown away at the banquet because I received the Friends of the Fair Award, the Association Friends of the Fair Award. So yeah, I was totally shocked to receive that, and I'm very honored to have gotten that award. So yeah, so there's a press release that's going to be in the messenger about it. I usually don't toot my own horn, but Jamie sent it to me again and said, I haven't heard anything that you put this out there. And I said, well, I haven't, but I'll get it there. So anyway, but district meetings are in April, so we're excited about that. And the fair is coming fast. Anybody have questions?
Well, congratulations.
The fair, 24th through the 28th. Last full week in July. So
Right, July 24th through the 28th.
Yep.
All right.
All right,
Well,
thank you.
congratulations.
Oh,
Way
thank
to
you.
go. All right. So Scott looks like a written report in the packet. Did you have anything to add?
Oh, yes, I did a written report and a few things to add. Last Thursday, I attended the Menominee Sunrise Rotary Club and accepted a grant for $1,800 for Caddy Woodlawn Park. That is to do some repair and maintenance on the restroom facility at the park. Menominee Sunrise Rotary Club has kind of adopted that park and done a lot of work over the years. They did some mulching on landscape last year. And along with that, our highway department has been down there. They just finished up Caddy Woodlawn, taking down dead trees. And so then we'll move forward with work with the Rotary and see if there's some other organizations we can work with to get some new trees planted in that park. Highway's also been working in Pineview Park, and right now it's just too wet because of all the melting. And then I wanted to also mention about or remind about the capital improvement projects that I'm working on for this year for facilities. That consists of trading 3 John Deere 1575 mower tractors in for replacements. The roof on the house at Caddy Woodlawn Park, working with the Historical Society with the state to be in compliance with that, just to determine what we can replace the roof with. Right now, it is the cedar shakes of original style, and just want to see what we can do as far as making that a good roof to last longer and still be in a good price range. The government center public health lower parking lot out here is slated to be replaced. I'll work with highway on that and make a plan for getting that going. The judicial center has some flooring replacement that is on capital improvements. And then there was the 25,000 that put toward the demolition of the boiler room in the stack. That's been an ongoing for a few years now. I think that's all I have. And Larry, you had a couple questions?
Microphone.
Thank you, Scott. Chairman. As far as capital improvements projects, where are we on the highway shop, situation? I thought that was something we're working towards in the next few years.
So the highway department is working toward that. And last I knew is that highway's working toward having the design and planning done in 26, and then it would be toward 27 that project would be done. But that's on the highway facilities or highway capital improvements, not on
Oh,
the facilities
okay.
one.
Then I got one more thing.
Sure.
The meeting with Virgie and the scope of verification plan meeting on April 2nd, who is that with?
That would be, Verigy would have a meeting with us, with Dan, myself, and whoever else would attend that meeting. Verigy would be there. They would have the scope of the project there for us to look at, see what they have for a plan.
Why is that a separate meeting than the facilities committee?
That would be on April 2nd. They would have it ready for us. It's too late for the March Facilities Committee, and we want to get a plan together and get it ready for the April Facilities meeting to present to all county for the Facilities Committee.
I was just wondering why the facilities committee was not invited to that meeting on April 2nd, or are they?
That meeting hasn't been set yet. So if the Facilities Committee wants to be involved in that, I'm sure that could be worked out.
Well,
It's-
we've
it-
changed dates previously. you
Yeah,
know.
the April 2nd meeting is a Verigy's timeline where a date they're planning that they have set for us. So that's why I was putting it in there. So it's a known date that they're planning to have a scope verification plan meeting.
What does scope verification mean?
So that is telling the plans of what what the project entails, details, more detailed plan of what they're gonna do and what they want to do. And what they would do is they would present that to us. We look it over. And if we have questions on what they're planning on doing, then we can ask the questions. And if we want something done different, then we can request a change in that prior to coming to facilities or to county board.
Can I,
Well,
can I
well,
just add a little bit? So, couple things. Pretty sure the April 2nd meeting isn't gonna happen anymore because the timeline has changed.
Yeah, that's right.
Scott wrote this. But we do have representatives from Verigy that are on the call that are going to be giving you an update tonight.
Okay,
So,
now, when is the proper time and when will they know whether there's a $3 million federal subsidy gift for this project? I mean, when are we gonna know that? Or not know that? I mean, I kind of thought that that was something that has not been determined.
so can we save that for when they're talking about?
Well,
Yeah,
you just tell- you
I
just-
don't have the answer. They might.
Just tell me
Right.
when I can ask that question, or Dunn County residents can ask that question, is there going to be $3 million? When will that answer be available?
So
Uh,
we'll see. We have a discussion.
Yeah, Jason, do you want to answer that? I saw you came off my mute.
Oh,
There's no answer then.
Sure. So a couple things.
Can't hear him.
Yeah, hang on just a second, dude.
Yep. Okay, can you hear me now?
Thank you.
All right, perfect. To start in order, scope verification meetings are an opportunity for us to do a number of things, relay questions that we've received from subcontractors, verify information that we would have obtained during site visits. And also there's going to be project options in anything that we do. So that's working with the technical folks on your staff, like Scott, making sure that we are putting together the project in the way that is going to work best for the county and that makes the most sense. So that's part of the development before we get to a proposed plan of action. As it relates to the Inflation Reduction Act and the grant program, there hasn't been a change to the law that enables it. We haven't received word that that law is going to change. As far as it pertains to the county, once they have financial equity in the program, they would be secured from risk of the grant program going away. So before the county would ever become financially obligated to the project, they would know whether or not the Inflation Reduction Act would be part of the project funding. There's safe harbor laws in place that essentially make sure that entities like the county wouldn't receive financial ramifications by a change in the grant program. So again, once you have financial exposure to it, meaning that you're under contract and you've been billed some amount, you would be under that safe harbor policy. So
Can I ask him
is
a
there
question?
risk that, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is there a possibility that there's a change in law before we get to that point while we're still in this development process? There absolutely is. If we believe that was a fair likelihood, we would continue to invest time in it. What we understand is that there's bipartisan support to maintain the funding for the program as it relates to the projects that we're looking at for the county.
Okay, and full disclosure, and anybody can tell me anything they want. They send me a message on the computer and I read it. And I had a very concerned person contact me that they felt that when your engineers were here looking at the physical space as far as the relationship between the jail and the Justice Center, that you were being very open, very optimistic, and that you would be able to do the work that you needed to do in the space that's available. I mean, is there, do we have any reassurance that if you go forward with this project, that there isn't a down the road, oops, we can't seem to do that because we don't have the ability to install our equipment with the space provided?
Yeah, so this is, I mean, to that point, this is going to differ dramatically from a typical capital project in the fact that this is a guaranteed project. So if it's not performing, we're essentially liable for the performance of the execution of the project. Rory, do you want to speak to that specifically?
Yeah, as for the space requirements, we will know, we'll be within 95% certainty and know exactly how big an area we'll need by the April meeting. That's one of the things we're working through now. What we've got now is basically simulations on Google Earth. They were actually up there taking measurements, and now they're actually physically verifying all the dimensional data. Are you, I assume you're talking about the solar portion?
I'm just telling you what I told me, that the physical space in the relationship between the jail and the Justice Center was limited to what you thought you could do. They didn't think you could do it in the space that was provided. So, that's just somebody asking me a question, and now I'm asking you.
We will have actual 2-scale drawings for you guys to review. And
Right.
that way you will know exactly how
Right.
big.
So when you say you can do it for X number of dollars, you're going to be able to do it for X number of dollars, not we run into a snag
So,
situation.
Well,
Larry,
that,
yeah, and
Yeah.
so, and that's the phase that we're in right now, is that they're coming up with the plan so that they can understand how much that is before we sign the contract. Once they sign the contract, if they're unable to do all of it, they will give us $11 million. Well, maybe not all up front, but they will give us the money that they had promised.
I just want to
but-
protect the taxpayers'
Yep.
dollar.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
and so
one of the
that's
things
really
that
the, good.
one of the things that we do that's different from a lot of our competitors is when we give you a scope of work, when we say we're going to do X, Y, Z, we also put a price to that. And unless, we hit some unforeseen circumstance like buried toxic waste or Indian burial grounds or something really bizarre, that is the cost. Period. We don't come back to you and go, well, hey, this has changed and we need another $25,000. That is not how we do business.
So, right. So I guess in a little more simplistic terms, we have a no change order policy. So unless the county specifies a change in the scope of work, the price that is contracted for is the final price. There isn't the opportunity for us to make modifications to that once we're under contract. So
Thank you
that's
very
why we
much for
go.
your information.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
does anyone, let's take a step back. Anyone else have facilities report questions? I had one about the gas, natural gas curtailment. So
Yes,
they say switch to LP.
Yep.
And so is that more expensive or less expensive, or how did they do that?
so what they do is Excel determines a point where they're going to have a high usage of natural gas. And if a business is signed up for the curtailment program, they can contact you and they can take you off and put you on curtailment. So then you have to go to your backup fuel source, which us for the boilers at Judicial Center is LP. LP is more expensive than natural gas. It puts you on there. But if you were not able to go on LP and stayed on natural gas under curtailment, it's a ridiculous amount of money for natural gas. So we follow along and do the curtailment.
So, so the geothermal will be electric.
Geothermal will be electric.
So,
Yes.
do they have electric curtailment during winter for heat?
No.
Okay.
We're gonna be-
So, and then I had one other question. I noticed, I think your financial report, I think it wasn't sent to you quite, because the numbers don't quite make sense. So that may, like your actual year to date,
Okay.
don't
That is
don't
the,
add up. So
okay.
you might-
That is the report that is generated from SAP that Beata gets. And that you're not going to get a true understanding of it or a true picture until the first quarter.
But yeah, it doesn't quite balance. So something with the expenses. The top doesn't match the bottom. So I think she just needs to fix that.
Okay.
Because it looked a little wonky.
I can always reach out to her and ask her about that too. And
Yeah, because it just, yeah, it doesn't balance. Any other questions? All right, so then I think we move on to, now we can finish our energy and geothermal. Is there a report from Verigy?
My apologies, I'm a little under the weather today. I would just give a quick, I guess, synopsis of where we are. So on the 11th, we met with individuals from each facility to discuss the impact of our development process on their facilities. Mostly that pertained to subcontractor and contractor visits over the next the last 2 weeks and going on for the next most likely 4 weeks as we continue to develop this project. And just indicating to them how we communicate when people are on site and working around that. Right now, we are, because of scheduling of engineers, we are looking at a scope verification, most likely on April 14th, with a report back to the committee on April 23rd. On April 22nd, the county will receive a final contract for review, and that would be up for discussion at the April 23rd meeting. The deadline date that we currently have targeted is May 21st for the full board. So tomorrow we should we have a large number of engineers that are going to be meeting to discuss locations for the solar field, and we anticipate reporting that back to the county by the end of the week here as to where we see as the most feasible location for that solar field location. Yeah, Rory, anything to add there on, I guess, current state of affairs here?
Not currently. Where I'm at is I'm writing the scopes, and we are developing the bid documents and bid drawings. I'll be getting those out as soon as possible, and then I will be up there walking contractors and moving forward with putting the pricing and everything together for the county.
So that's a bit of a snapshot of where we are today. If there's any questions on that.
Does anyone else have questions?
It might be helpful if they could clarify when they come back, what will that package include?
Very good question. So what will the scope or the package look like when you bring it back in April?
Are you want to speak to that?
Yeah, what we're gonna bring to you in April is our package as I've developed it, as we've discussed, and this will be a final is meant to be a final review by the county to make sure we've got everything the way you want it.
What would be in there? So is it all the final
We will have
locations?
yes, we will have drawings. We will have written scope documents itemizing everything that we are doing, and I believe Jason and I have been pushing to get also a preliminary timeline schedule to start the conversation with the county about how this is done, when everything's done. Until we get that together, we have to start someplace. So that schedule is important, and your schedule is actually more important. So we have to change our schedule to work with what's going on in the building.
Will it analyze our current usage compared to, the planned savings, so we know that it's paying back? How will that look, or pricing?
I will have some fairly accurate data on that at that time. Should be pretty close before we do the final contract. That has to be in there. The exact, the methods used, how it was developed, building operating conditions, occupancy hours, all of that has to be detailed out in this document. And you can go through it and see exactly how the savings was calculated, along with life cycle cost analysis, comparing the equivalent existing system versus what we're installing. Jason, did I say that right?
Yeah. So essentially, what I believe you're asking, we're going to give an impression what the current state of affairs is that relates to energy consumption, and then we're going to break out with the new program in place what that new utilization is going to be, and the cost or the savings associated with that. So you're going to see the methodology for us to get to an annual savings amount that reflects the contract cost. So that will be in that review packet. We should be, I would imagine, 95% at that point of assurance in that. When we get to contract, we'll obviously be at 100% of our guarantee. So there isn't any variance there. But and we'll also provide the county with information, because this has come up a couple times, of what a traditional system replacement would cost and what the life cycle cost of that would be. So you're going to see an impression of, okay, so if we were to do a one-to-one replacement with a traditional HVAC system, this is where we would be. With the geothermal system, this is where we are, and this is the net impact over the next 10, 20, 30 years. So that's what you can expect to see as part of that packet of information.
And I would add just for the committee, and you can ask me if you need it, but it was part of the bid documents that we gave specifically to the board members. Was redacted for the public because it does have some trade secrets in there, but you should have access to a sample of what that contract looks like.
Correct, yep, that was submitted.
Yes, Supervisor
Chair,
Bjork.
I have a question and it really, it's funny how you get involved in something and you come across it in other parts of your life. And our furnace at my farm went out this winter and it took 3 weeks to get a new furnace exchanger put in. And of course, every time you deal with any way, household information, they always tell you that, well, the new system is so much more efficient than the old system that we're replacing. So when you do your cost savings, are you doing cost savings compared to the systems that we have now that are 20 years old? Or you do your cost savings on the comparison between a conventional system and today's technology?
So we will do a life cycle cost with current state, retrofit of a similar system and a geothermal system. So you'll see the savings that would be obtained by like to like replacement, and then also with a geothermal replacement. And as far as kind of, I guess, extrapolated on your comment, part of our bid packet with any subcontractors we utilize would be a timeline of procurement so that while we're building out the project, we understand the lead times that are going to be taking place. So we don't have a situation where a necessary part is back ordered till November and we're leaving a trailer on the county facility for months. That would be also included in our information.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you. We look
Thank you.
forward
Appreciate
to
the
hearing
opportunity.
more.
And if I may, we have an explanation on the financial report that you were looking at.
Oh.
As far as the upper and the lower, so adding the cost centers together gets you down to the bottom, which the bottom is facilities and parks, where you have the top section is facilities, then the other section is parks, and then down in the very bottom is facilities and parks.
Oh, I was talking about the top of facilities. So it shows that we had revenue of 1,258,000, like net. But then
Okay.
right below it, it has 2,000,005. So I think those should match, but that's,
Yeah, different,
no, I'm just talking facilities.
just off
The-
the part of the facilities. Okay.
Yeah, and the revenue, like the expense shows 1 million and it looks like we've only spent 157 in year to date. You see parks
Sure.
matches.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm just thinking there's some typo somewhere or something, because,
Likely you're looking at 2024 numbers.
oh, maybe, maybe.
quite possibly.
So something didn't flow quite right, but that happens, yeah. I'm a past accountant, they have to balance.
And
You
we'll-
can't have
yeah.
different numbers
And-
flowing out there.
I'm thinking from what Beata said, it's gonna look different once we get out past the first quarter, once all that data is entered in there for a quarter.
Yeah.
Then it shows a lot differently.
This looks like a copy and paste issue.
Yeah, I think. it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
the last- Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, I'm sure it's just yeah, it's just a spreadsheet error.
Okay.
All right. So 6C, developer plan for the land east of Oak Leaf Clinic. So we can have that clarification first.
Yeah. So we have, Mike, I just asked you, Cappers, from Workhorse Development. This is the, development company that had reached out to the county. So, Mike is gonna give you a kind of a summary of the discussions that we've had and, take any questions and anything that you would like to do. We do have an action item on the agenda later. And that is an option to the committee if you want to move forward now. If you want to add, there's lots of options that you have, but you do have the option to move forward or not at this point. So we wanted to give you that option, but mainly this is to have the developer here to talk about their ideas.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having us. It's my partner, Jessie. It's her project, so I'm kind of coming in late. I don't have all the answers, but I'll do my best. It's my understanding that Jessie's been working with the city of Menominee, and part of the big problem here and everywhere else is senior living. So it was what Workhorse Land Development is really good at is solving problems for different cities. So we got brought into this to help with that problem. It's my understanding it went to the Dunn County Board. They said, yeah, we like that idea. They got it appraised. We wrote a purchase offer, and then Dan, thanks for putting that up. So it's right on Stout Road Northeast, right off of 94. Everybody familiar with the property? Probably. And it's somewhat of a coincidence, but I was playing pickleball on Monday in Woodbury at All World Pickleball, and I met the mayor of Menominee, who's an avid pickleball player. So he would like pickleball and more pickleball in Menominee. But so what was proposed, and this is all a concept. We come in to listen to what you guys want in your community. We're not the developers that come in and say, this is what you need, and we're sticking on you. So we work with you guys to find out what exactly you want. So the way it sits right now, the bottom floor would be commercial retail space, and then the top two floors would be senior living. His idea was to ask you guys if you didn't want the commercial retail on the bottom and wanted more senior living units on it. Also, I know heard there's a need for a daycare. Is that correct? Everywhere, yeah. And it sounds like Jessie might already have somebody to start on the building as soon as this gets done. That she's been working with city officials on. And then so the thought was the daycare on one side with a separate driveway off of the Lookout Road. We worked with Jim and Dan on a Zoom meeting a couple days ago, worked through the easements. The easements that are there, we don't have any problem working around. And then there'd be possibly like a cafe or a drive-through coffee shop or something with a drive-through there as well. And you could even have a drive-through on the lower portion if you guys did want the commercial space there. But the way we work is we listen to you guys and whatever you guys want for your community and whatever the needs are. Larry.
Yeah, I can see Stout Road there.
I don't think that's Stout Road.
Well, what does it say?
That's the frontage road in front of Oak Leaf there. Yeah.
Well, the address is the 2959 Stout Road Northeast. So I would assume that's the frontage road.
Well,
Okay, well, that isn't what really is
Yeah.
not my question. I'm just trying to understand what you've got what is drawn there. So the white square to the left or to the west,
Right here.
that's to the east, if I'm correct.
So you're looking at
Is that the clinic? Is
like a coffee
that the clinic? Where's the clinic?
shop. So this would be the senior living with
Yeah,
commercial and retail on
Fine,
three
but
levels.
where's the clinic?
Right there. That's the.
Okay, so
Okay.
not part of this.
No, I know it's not, but I'm trying to get my bearings, because that would be west, because I was trying to determine east and west here.
Had me confused because we do put in clinics too, so.
Yeah, that's okay. What is drawn there? S- s- On the bottom side of the facility, what,
Right over here?
no, right next to that. Is that parking spaces or what?
Yeah, this is parking. This is one building here, second building, third building, driveway with the parking lot.
Okay.
For the daycare here, and then, an ingress and egress off of Stout Road, and then this is all parking here and on the other side.
So, how much parking is that, would you
Uh,
say?
I don't have a count on it, but when our engineers do it, they look at what the county and city needs for space for each amount of units available. You need like, I think it's like 1.2 spaces per unit plus whatever the size of the different retails are. You need certain, I don't know that number, Larry, but I can get it for you.
Okay. Good. Well,
Would
so
there-
food and coffee is a retail thing here on the corner?
Yeah, it's just one of the.
On the
proposed
southwest.
uses.
So that's a separate facility building, because you
Correct.
talked about first floor, second floor, third floor. So this is an additional building?
Yep, 3 separate buildings. The daycare at 16,000 square feet, possible coffee shop at 4,800 square feet. And then a 3-floor senior living, I believe it's like 75,000 square feet so far, senior living, and that would leave 36,000 square feet and some change for commercial retail.
Okay,
But like I said, Randy, thought maybe even getting more senior living units in there would be better for the area.
okay. So senior living is a description of, meaning that people 55 and older can live there?
Correct. And then what happens is we'd come in, do a study and see like, okay, how many independent living units are needed, how many assisted living, and then possible memory care units. But this
So
is
are you
just,
duplicating, are you duplicating from what does across the street to the neighbors with memory
Yeah.
care and things like
So
that?
we did
Yeah.
talk that this is just gonna be 55 plus, not assisted living or
okay,
or
so
memory care.
independent living, so this, independent living. So
I
thank
don't-
you for that, because I'm, like I said, I'm late to the party.
That's okay. I am late to the party too, even when I've been at the party for hours. So, the other thing that keeps coming up for Dunn County and for housing study and everything like that, it's, what's the term for low income housing?
Affordable housing
Affordable housing?
or workforce,
what-
yeah.
Does this meet any requirements of affordable housing?
Dan, can you answer that on this one? We can do it both ways. We can do it with, as affordable housing or as,
Well, I mean,
Market-
if-
market
you know,
rate housing.
if we're gonna sell a piece of property and you're gonna put in facilities and they rent for $2,000 a month, you know, that has a big return to the investor more than low income housing that might be what, $800 a month or something like that. I don't know. I'm not in the retail business, you know, all I'm saying is Dunn County's been flooded with the request that we have low income housing besides senior housing. So can we achieve that?
so if I'm understanding you correctly, Larry, you're looking for affordable housing for seniors? Is that,
Not necessarily. I mean, you know, it makes me feel real bad when I sit on county board and we have county board members, and I can name you off 4 or 5 of them, and they all say the same thing. I work all the time, my wife works all the time, and we can't afford a place to live. So what should that be saying to me? That we need low income housing? Or do we hope that senior citizens move into this and then make their house available to those people trying to get their first house?
Yes.
Is that what it means?
Yeah. That's the concept around this in this. So as you look at the housing study, you'll see that there's needs for the elderly housing and some of that workforce level housing. And the idea is we just need to cause
You're trying to get the
change
ball
to
to roll.
happen. Yeah. So at this point, somebody is sitting on their house because there's no other affordable place for them to go that meets their needs. So they're going to continue to live in that house. And then the people that need to live in that house can't get into that house. And so we
Right.
run into that problem. So we're just trying to kind of
And they
fill
also,
in that gap.
and they also may need
So-
outside services.
Right. And so that's part of when we talk about this location with its proximity to the healthcare center, to the Mayo Clinic and to the Oakleaf Clinic in that area, and adding some of these retail areas, we can make a location for that population where you wouldn't have to drive very far to be able to get the things that you need to do in life.
Got it. Well, I'm totally against selling county property, but I'm totally accepting this idea as a good idea. So there we are.
Thank you, Larry. That's,
So was there any thought of, perhaps garages for the apartments or?
I don't know that there'd be enough space on the 8.72 acres that it was, but I can bring it back to our engineer and see if there's something they can do.
And also, I don't know if we need to do the needs assessment or, because do we know this is a good spot for retail? Like, because it may, I wonder, or if housing alone.
Is it a housing area?
Yeah,
So it is not a housing area. It is zoned to be local commercial. And so that was part of that mixed idea there, is that with the proximity to the highway there and access to all of the businesses, this is a kind of a prime location for retail space. However, with that housing need, this was an option to be able to do that close to those facilities. So yeah, right.
Yeah, I was
That's
just
right.
thinking,
Yes.
is there a grocery store that wants to, you know?
Well, yeah, and so that's some of the things that we've been talking about. You know, what are those services that should be in that retail space that can be used by the people that live in that space? So
and this is a big need everywhere, especially senior housing as the baby boomers get older, and it's only going to help them and it helps the businesses around them.
So do we know, to Larry's point, what price point these apartments would be?
Too
Too early?
early.
Mhm.
Too early.
That's Supervisor Ryan.
How much is the city's gonna have a dog in the fight? So what is the city need? You said you talked to Mayor Knack. Do we have a sense of, what the city's vision for that space is?
yeah, so Dave Schofield with the city has been in all of our meetings with
Okay,
workforce development and doing all of that.
okay.
And this property is in a TID, so there's all kinds of contingencies
Oh.
around that the developer will be working with the
Okay.
city on all of that. So the ideas of like the retail space and other things are coming from the city.
Okay, yeah,
So,
I sort of assumed that was probably the case, having covered city council for so many years.
Yep.
Plan commission. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do you guys have any other questions for me? Larry?
Thank you. I'm like Dan. I can take stairs 2 at a time. But as I get older,
Yeah, I bet.
I probably see that an elevator might be an essential piece of equipment for me.
For sure.
So are we looking at a couple elevator accesses here, or what are we looking at?
With any new construction, it has to be ADA compliant, so there will be an elevator in there.
Got it. Yeah, just make it big enough I'm not trying to be too goofy here, but, you know, we had to move out of the other building we were in because it couldn't fit a stretcher in the elevator, so make sure you got a big elevator. Okay. That's what they said.
Yes, sir.
How many units are they actually talking to you, the 2 floors?
On the 2 floors right now, it's proposed for 80 units.
80 units? Okay, I
Yeah.
just didn't see that anywhere. Thanks, appreciate it.
Any other questions?
I have one.
All right.
On your map, it says I-94.
Yeah, he's,
It should be
Yeah,
1229.
should be 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I didn't make the map. Yeah, we'll get that corrected. But overall, do you guys like the concept of the senior living and the daycare and a possible coffee shop or something like that, that think that would work well in the community? Larry?
also discussion at one time on park area between this facility and the neighbors. What are we looking at for acreage for park here? Have you looked at that at all, or Dan?
When you say park, you're just talking about like
Green space?
green space. Yeah, so I mean, if you scroll up, you can see that whole wetland area so if you look at that property, you'll see in this image, it shows you NWI channel. That's kind of that's the drainage of half of Menominee down the road there. So you're gonna see a considerable amount of green space between what is called Forbes Avenue and that. Now, usable, it's a wetland, but it's green.
Yeah, well, a lot of seniors have very special friends that have 4 legs, and a place to take the 4-legged friend
Yep.
would be pretty important for a lot of people.
And we haven't done this yet, but we had a little bit of a discussion about potentially expanding the bike trail that kind of comes right by the neighbors there, and getting it across the ditch and over kind of between Oakleaf and this development to kind of connect that to
That would be
that
really
to that walkway as well.
That brings me to another question, because I do know for a fact that developments in Menominee have green space requirements. And sometimes those get bought out or traded out with different developments, but, you know, obviously that's not gonna be a good idea here.
Right.
County would still own the green space.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, the green space that we were talking about. And then there's also that it's not technically a lot, but the other side of Lookout Road, what's called Lookout Road, it's not actually Lookout Road. It is on the map, but it isn't
Next to
in reality.
94.
Yeah. So, well, if you look at like a public map, you would actually see Lookout Road, but it is technically not. Yeah, there's that kind of lottish area on the other side of Lookout Road there, which is a large green space that we've also been talking about. You know, what's a good thing to put there?
Another dog park. If they
And-
allow pets, right?
And in most
walking.
of our developments, we try to put in, if we can put in pickleball courts, we put in pickleball courts, and also we don't call them dog parks, we call them dog runs, but yeah. And I would think by one of the storm basins there, on that northwest corner, depending on how that looks, that'd probably be a great place as any. And then a lot of times, if the city wants it, we will, in the developer's agreement, donate that land back to the city, so it's public use for everyone. But like I said, we're pretty early in this yet. Larry, you got anything else for me?
Forest development
Work
sounds
horse.
like a government,
Horse.
workhorse. Pretty good, pretty slick. So you are a corporation,
Yeah, a business.
Right.
Definitely not a government.
right? You like to make money when you can, otherwise you wouldn't be here.
Correct.
Okay, I think that's a plus.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
And if everything goes right, how long would this project take?
That's a good question. I would say, depending on how long it would take get to the purchase agreement, through closing, The earliest we could probably start is late fall. And then otherwise, if it goes into the winter, then we probably wouldn't break ground till next spring. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. No one has any more questions? All right, thank you. All right,
Who pays property tax?
It doesn't matter.
all right, number 7 is consideration for action to be taken by committee. None, so then number 8 is consideration of reports, resolutions, and ordinances to be recommended to the Dunn County Board by the Facilities Committee. So in the staff report, you can see we have many options for the, as Dan pointed out.
Yeah.
So we can approve
Yeah,
the
so,
resolution. Yeah, okay.
yeah, so we have a kind of a preliminary purchase agreement with maybe a few details to be worked out. Sent a I gave you a printed copy of the vacant land sale agreement that, that Jim has put together, and we have some general agreement between us and Workhorse Development on that. Really where they are at this point, I mean, timing is everything. They still have to work through a whole bunch of other hoops, so there's no actual urgency to that. But they want to get a purchase agreement in order to move forward with the knowledge that they're not wasting their time. So, not something that we have to work on right now. And once again, I don't have finalized, like this is going to be with final signatures on it version, but we have what is probably 99% of the concept around that. So if that's something that you are comfortable doing, you can propose a resolution to move forward with that purchase agreement, which would tell us to bring that to the county board, where we would do this again with the final version of that agreement to the county board, and then that would happen in March. And if you don't want to go that path, you can say, hey, let's just have another discussion about this next month, or you can say, please go change this or work with them and make sure that it includes the dog walk or whatever it might be, and we can go back and have some more discussions with the developer on that. Or finally, you can just say, please stop wasting our time. So,
So in order to have more discussion, we need to make a motion, correct?
I move the resolution approving the purchase agreement with Workforce Development.
Okay, so we have a motion to, so that's Supervisor Prochnow. Is there a second?
I'll second,
Okay, Supervisor.
and I have a question.
Lyon. Okay, so
Mhm.
yes, is there further discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
About the
Yeah.
resolution?
Okay.
Okay.
Dan, you said this is in the city's, is a TID district? Okay, so does this mean that the city council is also going to have to approve this development? I mean, we can agree to sell it, but then ultimately, it seems like the city council would have to have some sort of, since it's in their TID.
yeah, so they don't necessarily have to approve them by building within the TID, but they would
Mhm.
have to approve a development agreement if it were to be, and typically that would work as if you're going to build this much, we'll give you so much. Essentially, they
Mhm.
give them a loan and then they'll
Yeah.
pay that loan
Right.
back over time, a
Mhm.
0% loan,
Yeah.
right? So then they're going to have to come to those agreements.
Okay.
Typically called a developer's agreement.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically whether the city council agrees to that or if it is just the administrator or who does it, but
No, I said-
somebody in the city is signing
I've seen them come before the council.
so, but yes, and so, and that's a contingency on that purchase, that if they
Mhm.
don't receive
Yeah.
that, then they're not buying it.
Right.
So,
Okay.
so the city,
Okay.
the ball would certainly be in the city's court to be able to kind of have control over that. And that's why we've kept them involved in this as
Mm.
much as we
Yeah.
can, as I think our goal is we want to look out for the county, but we also want to make sure that the city is going to get what they want
Well,
as
it
well.
seems like with Dave Schofield's, input, that there's positive interest in it. It's
Surprised he didn't catch the I-94 thing.
Yeah. Lord knows, I had to go to plan commission to get my CSM approved again, third time.
All right, any further? Supervisor York?
I just wish I had a hard no on this and make my life easy. But in traveling around the Twin Cities, following grandkids to hockey games, I see some beautiful facilities that sounds an awful lot like what they're doing there. Don't you think that we should have a little tour of, if you go forward with this, this is the kind of the way your project's gonna look? Shouldn't we see a development in Woodbury or Fridley or Stillwater that these guys have done? And this could be something that you could have in Menominee. Instead of just saying, well, you guys, sounds good, but what does it look like?
That's something we can do? Like, I mean, we should get references, right?
So,
Maybe, I don't know
yeah.
if that works.
So the traveling meeting is always a challenge with the rules. I would say we can certainly talk to them and have them come back to the next meeting with some information about that. If you do go out to they have a website, Workforce Development, they do have some pictures of some of the projects that they've done. Looking through it, I saw one a second ago. Oh, they're videos. There is some that kind of look like that, but I think it is one of those, they're going to build it to match the area. But if that's something you want, I can reach out to them and say, hey, can we get some images or even some locations about that we can provide you, and maybe you can go look at them. If you really want to do a traveling meeting, we can figure out the details. But like I said, legally that becomes a challenge.
Well, how about if you just tell people to stop talking about stuff and just look? Oh, and then, I mean, honest to goodness, just tell people to stop talking about stuff and just look. But have we determined if we are senior citizen facilities, or are we low income? Because I would imagine that a senior citizen facility would have probably less space than low income that might include hopefully a husband and wife or two of the sames or anything like that, but we would be probably adding in kids, and then you have to have a different
Type of facility.
thing. I mean, when, I mean, I can't give you an answer on this until I see what their work looks like. I mean, I got an Amish guys building the pole shed, and I went and looked at two of them, and I'm just a goofy farmer. But it's my money, and I want it spent wisely. So I'd like to know, are we building for seniors, or are we building for young families with low income housing?
Well, I think that's part of
The
this
proposal as it is for seniors.
senior. Yes, so it's 55 plus. I mean, he mentioned assisted, but I think this is just apartments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have experience in doing that, and that was one of the things when they brought it up. And we're like, nope, we don't want to go that far. So, and yes, he wasn't a part of that, but
Okay.
yeah, this would just be, and I think to Larry's point, it is, you talk about 80 units. You're not going to get 80 units if that's family, because you need more space for those. So this is really specifically designed for mobility and for what is going to be one or two people living in a space.
I mean, like up in the hospital and things like that? The old
Yeah.
hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an apartment complex over by Dick's Fresh Market. I don't know the street it's on. Yeah, Memorial Heights, I believe that is in that.
There's one on Wilson Street on the east side of the road on the north side of 94.
So, yep. I mean, this is my in-laws moved into one of them, not in town here in Milwaukee area, but I mean, it's a big market.
I didn't have a real good chance to review the agreement. So it's difficult to move it ahead when, is there anything we're missing or is it like,
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, so once again, this agreement isn't necessarily agreed to by both parties. So, but I think the main thing is, it's a purchase agreement that's gonna be contingent on them meeting the requirements of the city and the easements, and then that we would put in there that it's going to be based upon the concept drawing that they provided. And that's about the level of like control that we have over that. Is it's just going to be based upon that and they'll in our continued relationship with them. But for the most part, it is
we
here's
see?
the land.
Okay.
So,
And the
yeah.
price includes
yeah,
closing costs and everything?
yeah. So that price is I don't remember what the exact appraised value was. This is higher, but there's closing costs improved. So they're paying the high cost and then we will pay the closing costs, which will get us to the point that we will profit the amount of the appraised value. That makes sense. Right? So they're giving us more money and then we pay the closing costs.
Oh, okay.
So that's the difference. So yeah, it isn't that they're giving us necessarily more.
So it sounds like we think this is a good idea, needed. But do we want to let it go?
You got a motion.
We have a motion to move it on to the county board to approve the sale and the purchase agreement.
I can say that in a former lifetime, I was the executive officer of the Dunn Board of Realtors. And so I have seen lots of agreements, having done that. And I mean, what's here, it's basically boilerplate, and as far as selling vacant land. Yeah, I didn't see anything in it that tripped a trigger for me. So just.
It does say the intended purpose, but like I say, that doesn't.
Okay. Is there any further debate?
What property tax does it will generate?
It's in a TID, so that means for the 20, 30 years that there's.
Once again,
It's
so
what?
anything they build inside of that will be net new construction. So that will lead to an increase in the levy. However, the taxes of that will not necessarily go toward it. It gets distributed in different ways. So it will result in an increase in the levy.
That answer.
The-
May not
the-
come
the-
through.
On that TIF district is still,
they just created it like 2 or 3 years ago.
did they put any years, 10 years, 15,
I bet it's 20.
20? Okay.
So yeah, so this is, we sell it and it's done.
Okay, one more thing. The only, there are two uses for our property out there. One is to have some hay for Tony Govan, and another one is to provide housing, and another one would be to provide land for business growth and expansion. And if I had a crystal ball, I would say, I mean, even though I think there's great opportunity for retail on the south side of Menominee, I don't see a lot of it happening to a large degree. And if I see economic development and to the scale of bringing in businesses that would build here, I think that's more likely to be across the road, around Anderson, and all this property that's going to be developed up on that hill. It's going to be amazing someday. I'm just sure of it. So we're kind of stretching out that retail area from behind to the north. We would, well, and I mean retail, I mean residential coming down. So even though I don't like to say it, is that I don't think we've got anybody, I can't foresee economic development with somebody building on that property and making widgets or king size widgets. We might have to look at it as it really is an expansion of housing from to the north, coming back this way, and it'll probably bump right up to Stout Road, I-94, or whatever they want to call it. We know what it is. So, even though I'm not crazy for it, I will support the motion just because I do think that it is an expansion of housing in an area where maybe housing is the best fit.
All right.
So there.
Any further debate? Otherwise, I'm supposed to restate the motion. So we have a motion to approve the purchase agreement with Workhorse Development. Workhorse. So, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, so the motion passes and we will send this on to the full county board.
Yep.
Great, thank you for the great discussion. So 8B is resolution accepting the bid on the sale of the transfer station. Is there any need for clarification?
Okay.
I think we're supposed to ask for if anyone needs any clarification first. The clarification, so,
Yeah, right. It's the entire property, the land and the buildings,
well,
Not
Not
including the
20.
farmland.
Yeah.
including the farm.
No,
no.
Oh, not including the farm.
Should be the buildings and 10 acres.
Okay, good, thanks. That's clarification.
thank you. Any other further clarification? All right, so entertain a motion.
I move.
I'll second it.
We take the resolution accepting the bid for the sale of the transfer station.
All right, so we have Supervisor Prochnow and then second by Supervisor Bjork. All right, so now any discussion? It looks like we have a big greater than the appraised value. So
I think we should be real happy that we have a buyer that wants to take the site as it is and use it for what he needs it for. And happy that and wish him well. And from what I know of their organization, they'll find plenty of use for it.
any other discussion? Goes, oh,
You said it's Earl, American Structures, which is Earl Wildenberg. And he is certainly a respected local business person who is, you know, worth a whole lot of money. He knows what he's doing. I've known him personally over the years.
Build a barn door.
And I'm guessing this includes the closing costs. Well, how does that work?
It's just the number he picked out of a hat.
Oh.
Uh,
So is there, yeah, will there be, or is it, does this, because it's not the bid, does it not go through all the closing?
I think it was the highest bid. That's why they got it.
The only.
Yeah, the only bid?
The only bid.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But
the
it was
highest.
highest. It was highest. So yeah.
Yeah, so we still have to go through closing and pay all of that and come to a purchase agreement. So we can still work through some of that.
So does that need to go to the full board or just?
Yep.
So, so this authorizes it and then will it come twice or?
Yeah, so this will be the final resolution that will go to the board. But part of that is the board's going to approve it, but then there's like paperwork.
Okay.
But that'll be done in the background.
All right, thank you. All right, so to restate the motion, it's a resolution authorizing the sale of county-owned property. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that motion passes and it'll be forwarded on to the board to sell that. Then we have 8C, which is a resolution for 2024 carry forwards and 2025 budget adjustment. Anyone need clarification? This, some of it was capital improvements, correct?
Yes.
All right. And I would entertain a motion to. All right, Supervisor Bjork. Is there a second? All right, Supervisor Lyon seconds. Any discussion? Is there any further explanation you want to provide, Scott?
No, I think it's pretty clear the way Beata presented it here.
Okay. So we have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2024 carry forwards and fiscal year 2025 budget adjustments. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that motion passes.
And just so you're aware, these will come forward to the full board in one big packet that'll include all of the carry forwards for all of the county. So.
So on the agenda, our next meeting is March 27th. I will not be here. So I don't know if vice chair or if we want to move it at all. It's March 27th at 5 p.m. So you got it. That should be Wednesday, or is it the wrong? Oh, it's March 26th. Okay.
It's fine. I don't. wonder-
So,
want-
no, we don't want to change the whole date.
Okay.
So-
So she March 26th.
March 26th,
Okay.
2025. And so Larry, you're going to take it on? Okay,
You tell me, I will.
okay.
I mean,
So,
I'll be a year
'cause-
older by then.
Okay.
I got a whole different attitude on life.
And you may have, you may need to speak to the motions at the county board because I will probably not, I'll be on a plane. So I won't be able to make that one either. Got it? Okay.
I'm on a plane, I know.
Can you?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think you can. All right. But I suppose if there isn't any business or anything, we could cancel it, so. So keep us, there'll be business. There should be business. Or will there not?
I feel like we've been busy. I'm trying to think. So,
Is it the Verigy thing
yeah,
is
the
after?
Verigy thing will be, I mean, we could provide an update at that point, but I don't see anything actionable. We will have CIP.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you did.
We did carry forwards. CIP is coming soon, but I don't know if that's gonna be it'd be in March.
Okay. So capital improvements.
Yep.
So everybody else be here, so they have a quorum. All right. Anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, we're adjourned at 6:20. All right, thank you all.